On today's episode, we are going to hand out grades for the draft class as well as for the UDFA class as they start to pile up and stack up for the Miami Dolphins. Also, we will go over the latest in regards of camp invites. We'll look at some more interesting analytics about how good of a draft the Miami Dolphins had, and we'll talk about so much more. Please do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphins touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it over the touchdown again. Let's go! Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown! He's rolling. Touchdown, Dolphins!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fid Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and you know what time it is. We are back here for another one. I hope all of you are having a fantastic end to your weekend, as it is Sunday Fun Day, and because it is, we are going to go over all of my grades for the Miami Dolphins and their draft. We are also going to grade the UDFA class, so I'll give you my thoughts on the UDFA class because I went and I watched a bunch of players last night. So we're good to go on that. Also, we will talk about the latest players that are being invited to camp. So we got a lot to go over, but I got to start off with this, man. You know, and this isn't really fans. This is like journalists I'm seeing and reporters I am seeing or trying to cross over to the social media platform. Listen, you know, I see people out here, you know, journalists out here arguing with fans or people who I know have watched the film, right? Podcasters who I know have watched the film, who have done the work. I see them out here arguing with them, and they're using other people's to formulate their opinions. They're using other people's word as gospel. They're using the Daniel Jeremiahs, the Mel Kipers, that's gospel. Have you look at this channel? Y'all have been following me through draft season. How many times have you seen me, be honest with yourself, go over someone else's mock draft? Hell, you ain't even going to see me today go over other people's grades. You know why? Because they don't matter. Right? Y'all know I watched the film. Y'all know I put in the work. That's good enough. But these other people who are arguing with people who have actually put in the work, you know, it's one thing when fans start doing it. When people who are getting paid to do this for a living start doing it, that's when I got an issue, an even bigger issue. You know, I'm already irritated by fans who will come out here and they'll use their word as certainty. They'll speak in absolutes, and you know, and they'll argue till they're red in the face, and they ain't watched a lick of film except YouTube highlights. And now we're getting journalists and reporters that are doing this, and you know, they're doing it to people who I know have put in the work and watched the film. Like, stop, man. It's actually ridiculous. You know, like that's one thing for fans to do because they have lives, they have other work, etc., etc. This is your work, right? This is your work. These people are getting paid to cover the team, but they don't want to put in the work. It's honestly ridiculous. And shout out to Daniel Ifusi. You guys know I would always shout out Daniel because you know he put in the work when it came to watching film. There was never any doubt about Daniel and him putting in the work to watch film. Now he's gone. Now he's with ESPN covering the Cleveland Browns. And on a side note, due to his I haven't spoke to him other than when he first got the job. I don't even know if cover 4 with Omar Kelly is going to continue because of the commitments he now has to the Miami Herald. I know a guy like Barry Jackson is not allowed to do these types of shows and podcasts, so I don't know if Omar Kelly is going to be allowed to, freelance a little bit more. We'll find out. Listen, I see JM. I'm going to have Alf on. All right. We're going to have Alf on over the next couple weeks. And then, like I said, when I get back, right? When I get back from my vacation, that's when I'm going to reach out and we'll do this content creator show. And I'll reach out to people. I still have all of your votes tallied. I still know who you guys wanted to see. And so what we'll do is I'll reach out to those people after I get back. Just because I'm going to be too pressed for time. I want to make sure that show is right, et cetera, et cetera. So I already know some people who are, let's just tell you what it is. I've already got text messages that some people are, I'll be honest with you, straight up scared. They don't care about what the fans want. They don't care about what the fans need. They're just here to make money off of you and do whatever they want. So, I mean, they would never make videos like I make. Guess what? Perfect example. You want to, here we go. I got demonetized yesterday again. So I want to go ahead and thank everyone who took the time to donate yesterday because I got demonetized, right? I'm not going to see any ad revenue from that. All I get is 70% of your donations because 30% goes to YouTube. But I wanted to show y'all the Malik Washington film. I wanted to show all of y'all the Muhammad Kamara film, right? I wanted to show that to you, right? Because there's people who they won't do that. They know it's going to get demonetized. You won't see it because that affects their pockets. Me, listen, I never let the quality suffer for the almighty dollar. You guys deserve the best, and I strive to deliver the best. So, listen, I'm going to have a bunch of people on from the community when we do that content creator show in May. So, I've talked to Simon before. The closest one I am with in that crew is Alf. That's the homie right there. I love Alf. He's a good dude. So, we're gonna bring you a good show in May. Don't worry. All right. So it's coming down for. I know people have asked. I know people want to see it. So we'll see. But that's the plan, and that's been the plan, and I've told you guys the last couple of weeks. But I just wanted, to restate that because I know people have been asking and popping up and being like, hey, what happened to the content creator show? It did not get forgotten. It's just we got in the middle of draft season and I was focused on, chopping the film I needed to chop, finalizing my evaluations and finalizing my big boards for you guys and then putting the videos together. That's where I was at. All right. So, it is what it is, whatever. So I appreciate again everyone who donated yesterday because it goes a long way, or else that video wouldn't have made any money, which would have been fine. But the fact that y'all look out for me and got my back means a ton. So I appreciate all of you guys. All right. I talked about it yesterday. I'll go ahead and talk about it again today. Greer alluded to it. They've alluded to it. They are definitely going to be circling back around to free agents. I think Dalton Risner and that guard group, there's Dalton Risner's out there. They brought in, Phil Haynes already, right? I believe Trey Turner's still out there. Justin Pugh's still out there. So there's still names out there right now, right? So I think they're going to circle back on that guard, free agent market. All right. Now maybe a guy, because of the guards that were added in Seattle, a guy like Laken Tomlinson maybe gets cut and they circle back on a guy like that. I don't know. Now, Tyler Boyd, they confirmed that they talked to Tyler Boyd. My whole thing with that is after Malik Washington and Taj Washington, there's not a need for Tyler Boyd, in my opinion. To me, OBJ, if you're going to add, is the move. You need a big body guy. I don't know where Izakama is at in his not only in his development, but his health right now. But that's where I would be at. OBJ, imagine if this team was added OBJ and Justin Simmons. I mean, we're going to talk about the UDFAs and the free agent class. I don't know if we we got guys that can rotate in, but we don't have a serious answer at safety for those 3 high shells. We're going to be either running Elijah Campbell or a rookie. And I don't know if that's going to be a real thing. I got a feeling they're going to add a veteran of some capacity. Now, obviously, I'm dreaming with Justin Simmons, but you never know. Need more ways to donate to the channel so that YouTube doesn't get so much. Yeah, my PayPal is they struck it down. So and once I got my personal one back up, I just haven't had time to get back. So I'm going to try and get the PayPal back up. PayPal's obviously the best way if you want to give straight to me. But I'll get that back up this month. And I hope I'm going to have my new background up by the time, a little bit after I get back from the vacation. Shout out to Sean Seipler with the $99.99 donation, the $100 bomb. Donation, monetization. Appreciate your hard work delivering great content, Reason. I appreciate you, Sean, for looking out for myself and looking out for the channel. But most of all, I appreciate you appreciating the content. I listen, people, it's weird, right? When people don't agree with you, they'll say, oh, but you're a fan. But then, when you talk about things you were projected correctly or valuations you made right, now, or something you got wrong, right? Like if I got an evaluation or something wrong, all of a sudden I'm treated like an analyst, right? Like, you know what I mean? So I say that to say this. I started off as a fan. I've become more of a social media analyst now, right? And, I listen, I do this truly for the fans because when I started this channel, my number one goal was to educate this fan base the best way possible. And I wanted us to have the most educated fan base there is. Now, given where I am 4 years deep into this now, I know that was a dream, a pipe dream. But hey, I look at it this way. If I can educate 50% or 75% of this fan base with the amount of toxicity and negative Nancy's and Debbie Downers and straight up misinformers there are out there, then that's a W for me. So, this is all about having the most informed fan base. So I appreciate you appreciating the content. That lets me know you're soaking it in, man. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much, sir. The $100 bomb. Hammer Cash App is not available in Canada. Oh boy, the god of the mod squad just came through. 20 donations gifted by Rhino Sith. Look at this man. Atta boy. Denisha, Fanatic 13, Jeff Sweet, James, Mama I Not a Fish. You guys in these names, I swear on my life. Chris Herrera, Mark, Shade, Mario Gonzalez. It's either Shady or Shade. Andre Villarreal, Max, CJS, Bob, Oliver, Victor, Mikey, JB, Parag, Lance, Jan, and Ernesto all were gifted memberships from the homie Rhino Sith, the god of the mod squad. Appreciate you too, Sean, Rhino, and Hammer. Appreciate all of y'all, man. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You're scholars and gentlemen. That's what you are. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. So we have got about 355 in the room. We're only on YouTube today. That said, let's start getting into this, and we're gonna jump right into the thick of it. We aren't gonna hold back at all. Actually, you know what? Let's do this because I know there's a lot of questions coming out of the draft. Let's do a 5-minute Q&A. I will take questions from the comment section. All right. And I'm going to let y'all know donations get priority. That's how it works, whether we're doing a Q&A or not. So, I'm gonna take 5 minutes of questions. All people are gonna have questions about the draft class, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna take 5 minutes of questions coming out of the draft. If you got any questions, drop them in the chat right now, and we'll start going through them. All right. Yeah, I think Malik and Taj both make the 53. I really do. Honest, Malik's a slam dunk, and I think Taj has a damn good chance. Edward, June 1st to add free agents. Yeah, I think they're waiting for that cap to free up. And really, at the beginning of June, no longer are you affected, are your compensatory picks affected. So I think that's the next move. Right? I think that's the next move. I think year one is going to be rotational, right? Now, if you're talking about, let me know if you're talking about, schematically how I use Muhammad Kamara. But, I mean, he can stand up or he can get his hands in the dirt. You know what I mean? I think year one, you're going to see him in rotation in a lot of pass rush packages and situations. That's probably going to be the goal, right? So, I don't think right now at this stage of his career, he is an every down player. But, I do think, he's got to get better sealing off the edge and he's got to get better at just playing against the run, right? So, but, you can use him as, a Leo outside linebacker. You know what I mean? He's an edge guy for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Patrick McMorris, I don't know. I think I see him as a box guy. There's three guys I would have taken between Patrick McMorris at least. And I still say that after having watched him yesterday. So, Trey Taylor I would have taken Trey Taylor before I took him. That's just I don't even know what else to say. That's just where I'm at. There's three guys I believe on my big board that were still available that they all passed on. Now they do this for a living. I would have taken Bo Braid or Trey Taylor over him, and even Josh Proctor. But hey, they're the ones that get paid the big bucks to do this, not me, right? That's a good question. Salvin Ahmed has turned into a camp body. Jeff Wilson, they paid him a little bit of money and they might be moving off of him. Does Chris Brooks even make the roster? Malik's going to be getting legitimate snaps in the slot. You can always add another tight end. I don't think Rucci's, tips that scale. I really don't. That's just my opinion. That's one man's opinion, right? Safety. And I try to get another big body receiver. And interior. Right? Like, we're going to rely on UDFAs to back up Aaron Brewer. So, that's where I'd be. It's not, see, this is the wrong, I keep telling all of you guys, premium positions are always going to hold more value in the draft. That's number one. Number two, if they're sticking to their board, that's just how the board falls. Like if Troy Fautanu would have fallen, I don't know if now I believe they had Chop as a top 18, top 15 player, but I can't sit here and say they'd have taken him over Troy Fautanu. But that's how the board fell. It's not about, I keep telling all y'all guys, they're not going to reach on picks just to fill needs. That's how you get fired. I honestly haven't even really looked into it. I will this week. One of them, I mean, Chop Robinson's pretty damn good. Bo Braid's pretty damn good, too. Imagine if it was Bo Blade. That'd be awesome. Storm Duck definitely has a fantastic name, though. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into the grades. Let's go over what we got. Shout out to all of you, 430 of you in the room. Let's start off with the draft class. And let's start off here. Chop Robinson. I told y'all the haters aren't going to like this grade. Chop Robinson's an A to me. I mean, I want you to first of all look at this list. 2 of these 7 players were on my annual Man Crush list that I release every year. I show it on here and I release it on X as well. So, you know, hey, Chop Robinson was one of those guys that was on it. And everyone knows I've been pushing Chop since like this January-ish. So, now, when you look at the player himself, you know, 6'3", 254, just under 6'3", 254. You know, I think him and Amarius Mims had the highest ceilings in this draft class. You know, he's the most explosive athlete of the edge class. I mean, you're talking about some of the best bend and flexibility in this draft class. And the way he converts speed to power, you know, he's very good at timing snaps. You talk about twitch. This guy is off the charts twitchy, right? The short area burst is elite, right? Very strong hands. They can't be easily discarded by defenders. A high-end motor does not stop. Keeps the legs driving, keeps the legs churning. He does not stop. Very strong upper body. The functional strength is strong, and he's only 21. This guy's going to get stronger. Think about that for a second. All right? He maintains a pretty good pad level, right? Consistently. So, you know, I'm thinking with proper refinement, we're talking about a player that could be on Micah Parsons type of level. Now, he's going to have to continue improving his pass rush game plan, from widening his array of initial moves to growing his counter move arsenal. Hand placement does need to be a little bit more consistent, can tend to get wide with it. And he's going to need to he can shed blockers, but I need to see it more and more regularly. But again, the snaps, right? I mean, some games he didn't even have 40 snaps. Some games he didn't have 30 snaps. Listen, Anthony Weaver and what he can do with this kid, we could be sitting back and I could have been rating this too low. This could turn into an A+ pick. Patrick Paul, I got to give this a B-. Right? I said it's not awful. I'm fine with it, etc., etc. He was. Now, I had Kieran Amagaji, Roger Rosengarten, and Kingsley Suamatea, who I would have taken ahead of him. But the thing is, the traits. We're talking about like next level traits, right? Just under 6'7.5", 331 pounds. I mean, and unlike Terron Armstead, this man is dependable. He started every game the last 3 years at Houston. Talking about fantastic length, quick feet, right? Very good moving laterally, right? I mean, talk about a guy who makes impact blocks. Really strong anchor. Now, where he can tend to struggle is with hand placement, the pad level because of his height. He can play upright a little too much. And, you know, he's got to sustain his blocks a little bit more. And, you know, you watch him. Patrick Paul gets grabby. All right? You see defenders, you see him grabbing, the jersey on defenders' pads. The one thing you see a lot, too, is he gets beat. He'll bring the arm across the chest, around the neck area, and try to hold guys that way. That's going to get flagged. And it's littered all over his tape. Now, he didn't get flagged all the time for it. There was a lot of times right in front of the ref where he was getting away with it. So, you're going to have to clean that up. But that's a B- for me. Again, Butch Berry. Butch Berry turned a guy in Eichenberg, all of us were ready to throw off the cliff, and made him serviceable. Butch Berry got Austin Jackson to not only play his best football of his career, but he actually had a nasty side to him. How do you like that, huh? actually showed a flash, a little bit of a nasty side. And guess what? Butch Berry helped him get paid. What do you think he can do with Patrick Paul? Patrick Paul has better functional strength than what Austin Jackson had coming into the league. That's just a fact. I think he has a better anchor. Now, he's an above average anchor, but it's way, Austin Jackson had zero anchor when he came to the league. He's got an above average anchor. It's not elite, it's not great, but it's above average. But because he's a good athlete who's got good bend to his hips and his knees, I expect that anchor to improve. He's just technique needs to be cleaned up. Everything that's wrong with Patrick Paul can be coached up. It's not like we got a guy who had no length, he had T-Rex arms, had mini hands, and, slow feet, clunky feet. We didn't get any of that. So it's a B- for me. A B- because I would have taken Kingsley Suamataia in front of him. So, number 3, Jalen Wright is an A+. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I said this yesterday, top 60, top 70 player. And we got him at 120 by trading a 3rd-round pick next year when we're going to have when we have 2 compensatory picks coming our way anyways. And you all know how again, like Chop Robinson, he made my man crush list. Such an explosive athlete. Quick feet, cuts on a dime, takes good angles, home run threat. You see that 4.38 40 show up on the All-22 steady. Very elusive. I mean, defenders missing is all over his film. Whether it's he's making the miss or he's shedding a tackle. The other thing, too, is watch him in 2022. Finishes in the red zone. Finishes it off. Right? He's 210 pounds. Runs strong with a good center of gravity. Makes plays consistently after contact. Great vision. I mean, he had over 400 yards of contact the last 2 years. Let me give you the exact number. He had some crazy numbers in terms of after contact, just because this kid's a playmaker. This kid is a playmaker, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else to tell you. And that's why he made my man crush list, because it's some of the funnest film to watch. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable what this kid does. Right? So he's an absolute stud. So he had 592 yards after contact this year, averaged 4.35 yards after contact per attempt. And last year he had 548 yards after contact, averaging 3.75 yards after contact. He averaged over 7 yards per carry this year. I mean, stop. And guys, and you see the analysts arguing about this. The guys who are paid by South Florida media conglomerates don't understand this pick. What do you not understand? Has Mostert been healthy the last 2 years in December and January? No. They clearly don't depend on, they can't depend on Jeff Wilson. Didn't do much in 2022 in December and January when it mattered. And last year they barely used him. Devin Achane, he's learning his body. He was banged up a bit last year. And here's the other thing. When you look at Mostert, when you look at Wilson, when you look at Salvon Ahmed, when you look at Chris Brooks even, there's no long-term commitments to them. They are now, guys, for the next 3 years at least, Achane and Jalen Wright are the combo they're going to be leaning on. And that is as dynamic as you can get. So, huge fan. Man crush right here. Guy's got great vision. Great vision. And he's a You know, when you see him and you watch him and you're like, oh my God, how explosive he is. Then you watch him in pass pro. Jalen Wright is fantastic in pass pro. He might be our best blocking running back right now. Now, he does have a little touch of a fumble. He had 5 fumbles over the last few years. More productive north-south than east-west. Right? Sometimes he can run a little too upright. So he needs to keep that pad level a little lower consistently. But we got a stud, ladies and gentlemen, at 120. He should not have been on the board. And I'll say the next thing about the next guy. And I gave that an A. A+. Muhammad Kamara. Colorado State, that's an A. Again, shouldn't have been on the board. Should not have been on the board. That's a top 100 player right there. And they got him at 154. And I know why he fell. It's his length. Exactly. Ball game, thunder and lightning with Wright and Achane. It's because of his length he fell, but give me a break. This guy has all the tools to be a very successful and impactful pass rusher at the next level. Right? He's a great athlete with an explosive first step. I mean, you talk about good short area burst, gets out of his stance quickly. Very hot running motor. Keeps playing to that whistle. Loves the swipes, loves the chops and the rips. He's got a pretty good arsenal of pass rush moves. Those hands, they stay violent and active, baby. He pursuits at a high level. You know, converts speed to power. The physical aspect of the game he thrives on. Now, he's a better pass rusher than run defender. The length isn't ideal. And sometimes he relies on power a little too much more than technique. And that can lead to problems for him. But, man, this pass rush when we're healthy this year, if Phillips and Chubb can get back to the guys they were, this could be scary hours for offenses. So, absolute steal of Muhammad Kamara. Absolute steal. Just absolute steal with Muhammad Kamara at 158. Now, at 164, we took another steal of the draft, and that's Malik Washington. From Northwestern to Virginia, Malik Washington, you know, he's a big-time impact playmaker. Right? Despite, I mean, you watch the film, guys. This guy's had poor quarterback play around him. Poor quarterback play. All right? Poor quarterback play. But when you watch the film of Malik Washington, talk about another guy with fantastic contact balance and elusiveness. I mean, he creates after the catch regularly. I mean, you know, another guy who sheds tackles or just makes defenders miss. He's elusive. Very high level ball tracker with great ball skills at the catch point. Really good route runner, stems well, explosive out of his breaks to create separation. Hands were a sure thing at Northwestern and Virginia with a wider catch radius than expected given his lack of size and length. Good speed to his game. He ran a 4.47 40. Great acceleration. He's able to gear up and down without wasted motion and movement. Really great body control to his game. You know, another guy who's willing and able to get his hands muddy with blocking. He's never one to shy away from the physicality with or without the ball in his hands. Now, obviously, you look at his size. He's a little undersized when it comes to his height and his length to his frame. Now, he's had a pretty good line of scrimmage release package in college, but functional strength, that's going to be tested at the next level. And route tree needs to continue to be expanded at the next level. And this is a guy with Wes Welker that... Oh, my God, Wes Welker's going to love Malik Washington. Oh, Wes Welker's going to love Malik Washington. So I give Kamara an A. I give Malik Washington an A+. He shouldn't have been on the board. He should have been gone by like, at the latest, like 110 to 120 range. At the latest. Number 6 for me, Patrick McMorris, safety out of Cal. I watched a bit of him yesterday. I gave it a D+ because, remember, I was not high on Brandon Jones when he drafted me either, but, Patrick McMorris is going to be a box safety. Now, instinctually, pretty good, right? Good pursuitability, closes down on the play pretty quickly. Pretty good in coverage. The issue with me is he's not rangy, right? Kind of like he's stiff. Remember how I talked about how Cooper DeJean had to translate from corner to safety because he's a little stiff in the lower half? Well, Patrick McMorris is a lot stiffer in the lower half. I think he's better zone than man, obviously. When you get into man coverage, I wouldn't go there. I think he's going to be a special teamer. That's what I think he's going to be. That's what I foresee with him. He's because he's a good tackler, right? And he shows pretty high level IQ in terms of route recognition, et cetera, et cetera. So I think when you add in the physical aspect and the IQ of the game, he's a special teamer with the option to be in packages, sub packages in the box. D+. I can't even sit here and say this guy makes the roster, because they could very well add, a free agent and they come in and they'll just take him. Now, Taj Washington, I got to give this an A. I mean, you're picking this guy at 241. Are you kidding me right now? Taj Washington at 241 is a steal. He didn't run at the combine. He ran at his pro day 4.52. Looks a little faster on film. 5'9.5", 174. So he's lighter than Malik. So I don't know how you guys feel like that, but he's lighter than Malik. He's a good player though. I'll give him that much. When you watch Taj, you know what? The one thing that really stood out when you watch the film of him, the smarts, the ability to react to his quarterback. There were so many times where Caleb Williams would go off script and extend, and Taj would flow to his side. Right? He'd either have ended off his route or cut his route off early to flow into an open space so Caleb could find him. Very good field vision is what I saw with him. I don't think he's fast. I think he's quick. And again, like Malik Washington has very sure hands. So does Taj Robinson. Very, very sure hands. And at the catch point, he can make big plays with his hands. I'm talking about like one-handed catches. So you look at this. I mean, this was Caleb Williams' favorite target right here. Got a 1,000-yard season. So I'm a fan of this pick. That's an A. He shouldn't have been on the board. So when you add up all those letter grades, and then, you divide by the weighted percentage of each pick, which has an evenly weighted percentage, we get an A- is the overall grade for the draft class. There's only one pick I didn't like. There's literally one pick I didn't like. So, this was Chris Greer cooked. I don't know what to tell you. Take the steak off the barbecue. It's done. Chris Greer just cooked that baby to perfection. All right. Now, let's get into the UDFA grades. And I watched most of these players yesterday. I didn't watch Bayron Matos because he's never played a snap. I should have really probably given it an F, but I gave it a D-. You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember that Brazilian the Miami Dolphins had? Do you remember? Durval Queiroz Neto? Do you remember him? How he could never get off the field and we kept moving him around and da-da-da-da-da. That's what this situation reminds me of. I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass on a player A I've never watched, and B that you guys want to talk about projects. I mean, well, we're gonna really find out how good this O-line staff is, right? Now, when you get to a guy like Andrew Meyer from UTEP and what he brings to the table, this is a guy who, he can play center or guard, I think. All right. So we started like 31 games over 5 seasons. Pretty quick off the snap, right? He's a perfect fit for the zone scheme, for the outside zone scheme. He's perfect for that. He's got decently quick feet, moves decently well laterally. Good bend to his lower half. And he's pretty much, from what I watched of him, consistently decent hand placement. Good anchor too to his game. So, I think the issue with him is the functional strength needs to continue to improve. I do think he's a high-level IQ player. I saw him IDing blitzes and such and picking up stunts, no problem. He's probably going to get put on his heels a little bit unless he creates that functional strength a bit more. From what I saw, he's 6'3", 302. And he needs to improve that functional strength to continue to hold and sustain his blocks. So, and he's not very explosive, right? Like, that's just not him. So, got to create that, continue to develop that functional strength, but we'll see. I give it a C. Mark Perry, I was actually pleasantly surprised when I put on the Mark Perry film. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie, all right? Now, he wasn't invited to the Combine, but at his pro day, he ran a 4.40. He ran a 4.40. All right, a 37-inch vertical jump, 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. 6 foot, 213. He's a pretty good athlete, and he's got good size to his frame. He's rangy, like what Patrick McMorris isn't. He is. He's rangy. All right. I think he can match receivers really well. Because he's, like I said, he's rangy and he's quick. He's a very, very disciplined player. Both years at TCU didn't even have a flag. And then actually his final year at Colorado in 2021, he led the team with 3 interceptions. So he does have a little bit of ball skills. Now, didn't have an interception over the last 2 years, but he was making plays on the balls with breakups and such. I think he's decently playing through traffic. I think he can lay a little lumber. I'm actually intrigued by this because this is a guy who was shifted around at TCU as well in the secondary. He fits that hybrid mold that Anthony Weaver likes. So, Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. I actually think this kid's got a chance, given our depth right now, unless we add. But if we didn't add another safety, this kid's got a chance. Same way as Rome McKinley had a chance, right? Jaquan Burton out of FAU. You know, at his pro day, he ran a 4.54, 5'9", 177. I didn't see anything more than a camp body, if you want my honest opinion. Maybe he makes a practice squad because his route tree needs to continue to be developed. He's an okay route runner, I guess. I wasn't really that overly impressed when I watched him. In fact, I got bored, if you want me to be honest with you. So, see where it goes. Gavin Hardison, quarterback, UTEP, D+. I would have rather added, they would have added Sam Hartman from Notre Dame as the backup, I would have given this like a B+. Okay? I'm just, like, this kid's got a rocket. I get it. But, not good ball placement, really. I mean, his deep ball placement is, okay, I guess. But, from the intermediate to the mid-level, From short to intermediate, he's not a very accurate passer at all. He's better throwing vertically. You're not going to ask this guy to make timing throws. Again, his deep ball is really nice. Got a cannon. He can get outside the pocket. But I don't think he's a good decision maker. I think mechanically he needs to be rebuilt from his footwork up to how he throws the football. Skylar Thompson's job is not in jeopardy. Let's put it that way. All right? D+. Storm Duck, a kid that I watched during the process when I was ranking my corners, is a good player. Storm Duck is a good player. Now, he wasn't invited to Combine, but at Pro Day, he ran a 4.42, 11-foot, 2-inch broad jump, 39-inch vert. When you look at him, he's a really good athlete, and he's got really good ball skills, right? He can make plays on the balls. Even if he ain't picking it, he'll get it there and break that up. And he's a good tackler. Got no problem leading with his shoulder and laying out a ball carrier. So, now he's just going to have to get better at matching receivers. Especially at the top of their stems where they break. I think he's better in zone than man. I would say that. But, again, a thing for him is he's been injured, right? So, I mean, in 2020 and 2021 alone, he missed 17 games. He missed 10 games in 2020 and 7 in 2021. So he's going to need to stay healthy and stay on the field. But I like this pick. Here's another guy like Mark Perry that now we're very deep at corner, so I don't know what his chances are, but wouldn't shock me. I think he at least makes the practice squad. Now let's get into a pick that I really like. And I gave Storm Duck a B. I give Grayson Murphy a B+. This is my highest graded UDFA. The brother of Gabriel Murphy, who made my top 15 edge list. You're talking about a guy who is a pretty good athlete. You know, pretty good first step to go with that. He's got pretty active, pretty strong hands that they can cause problems for blockers for sure. You know, and he's almost 24, and he's pretty strong. He's already pretty strong. So, and the motor. I mean, you're talking about the competitiveness and the motor that this kid has. High level. The issue with him is the length. That's the issue with him. Right? So, and, you know, the sack production, it's been good. I mean, we're talking about 18 and a half sacks over the last 3 years. So, I'm a fan of this pick. Number 8, Isaiah Johnson, DB out of Syracuse. Now, he ran a 4.64 at the combine, had a 38.5-inch vert, a 10'9" broad jump. With him, you know, with Isaiah, you know, he went to Dartmouth and then he transferred to Syracuse. You know, and it's because 2021 he really came onto the scene. He had like a 73-yard interception return for a touchdown. So, you know, he's got great length to his frame. And he's a decent athlete. I wouldn't call him great. He's a decent athlete. You know, so I like this pick. This is going to be interesting to see what they do with him here. Like, you know, you're not talking about a guy who's got all the speed in the world, but you're talking about a pretty high IQ player with great length. And he's a very good tackler. So I think he's, you know, he was a corner, but I think he could be potentially converted to safety. So I got this as a B- given how bad our safety room is. Matthew Jones from Ohio State. I gave this a B as well. 6'3.5", basically 316. He can play guard or center. You know, we're talking about he's played left guard, right guard, and center. So, and he started at center, and you know, in the Hooligan Bowl, I believe it was. So, you know, when you look at him, he's got decent functional strength. And he moves decently well laterally and out of his stance and off the snap. You know, he can pull effectively. So now where he's going to have problems with is his anchor needs to continue to be developed because, you know, a bull rush is going to put that man on his heels. But given the state of our interior, that's a B. Given our state of our interior, I give that a B. 10, Leonard Payne. Not very productive. You know, I will say this. You know, decent against the run. I thought his tape. I watched some of his games in 2022 at Fresno State, and I thought he was better at Fresno. Now, he had a couple sacks last year at Colorado, including like a big one to almost seal a game. So, you know, with the rotation we have going on, it's a C+. You know, I like him better than I like Brandon Pilley. I'll put it that way last year. So I see him as more of a camp body, but you never know, right? Number 11, Hayden Rucci. Listen, you know why I gave this a B-? Because they didn't go get a convert. They went out and actually got a freaking true tight end. So, Now, this is kind of a tough eval for me because as a receiver, he didn't put very much on tape. He had 1 touchdown reception, and he was wide open in 2022. Now, when you look at him, though, as a blocker, yeah. As a pass pro, he's pretty good. And as a run blocker, he's better than what Gesicki was. Let's put it that way. So this is a developmental tight end, but at least it's not a wide receiver they're converting and hoping. He's played in line. He knows what is required of the position. So I'm interested to see. And the very interesting thing to me about this player, he's a 3rd-generation NFL player. His grandfather played with the Baltimore Colts from 1961 to 1965, Tom Gilberg. And his dad, Todd Rucci, played with the Patriots from 1993 to 1999. So this is a 3rd-generational player. This game is in his blood. So that's why I give this a B- too. I'm really interested to see what Hayden Rucci turns into. I'm going to tell you right now, is it that big of a mountain to climb to beat Julian Hill? The man is bigger than the mountain it is to climb. So, I'm very interested in this. And then number 12 for me, well, the number 12, the last guy they've added here. And that's Jordan Colbert here. Now, Jordan Colbert, right? This is a guy who can play. He lined up multiple places at Rhode Island. He can be in the box, right? He's actually effective against the run. He can take on defenders from the slot. So, I actually like this pick here. I actually like this UDFA. Now, his pro day, he ran a 4.640. So, he's got safety speed, right? But he had a 39.5-inch vert, a 10-foot 5-inch broad jump. He's got good hand size, good wingspan and arm length to him. Did 18 bench reps, so and he lays the lumber. He's looking to Shang Tsung a ball carrier when they come across his way. He is looking to lay the lumber. So I'm in again, given our safety depth, I'm intrigued. Color me intrigued. So he got a B-. Overall, my UDFA grade, when you add those all up and then you weight the scores, it's a C+. So when you add the A- and the C+ from the draft grade and the overall UDFA grade, my total draft grade for the Miami Dolphins is a B. That's where I land, at a B. So I give this grade a B. Cry haters, cry. I mean, I remember people arguing with me about whether, you remember when we brought in the CFL player Quantez Stiggers? There were people in my chat saying, oh, he's going to go UDFA. I said, no, he's getting drafted. You win the 5th round. You look at the value we got of these draft picks, and then some of the value we picked up here with the UDFAs, I'm very intrigued. Color me intrigued. Color me intrigued. So I give us a B draft grade. All right. Now, continuing on with everything coming out, we have invited some players to camp. All right. So they haven't been given contracts. They've been giving camp tryouts. There's a difference. The UDFAs we just went over have been giving been giving contracts. These guys have not. So this is where we get to with that. In addition to the 10 Dolphin rookie free agent additions that were added, the Dolphins signed at least 200 drafted free rookies over the weekend, Colbert and Hayden. Now, here are the players invited for a tryout to the team during rookie minicamp, and they don't count towards the 90 number on the roster. So, rookie minicamp is in a couple of weeks, and they brought another quarterback, University of Florida quarterback Michael Leone, Virginia Tech defensive tackle Mario Kendricks, linebacker Jeff Canton Arcu. So, they've added some more players. Now, interesting thing here, too, is NFL reporter Aaron Wilson said the Dolphins are giving $247,000 to that offensive line prospect, Bayron Matos, who just played defensive and special team snaps for USF. He's a former college basketball player in New Mexico. That's a lot of guap for a UDFA. So, more camp invites for the Miami Dolphins. And things are about to pick up and get interesting, right? That's where we're at. I mean, now we got everything coming up soon, right? So listen, I mean, the fact of the matter is we got things coming up here, people. All right, we got OTAs workouts May 20th and 21st, 23rd, 28th, 29th, and 31st. Mandatory minicamp will be June 4th to 6th. So it's coming away. It's coming up real quickly, right? We're a little over 3 weeks away. So from things starting. And we're still waiting for the post-draft rookie minicamp to be announced, as well as obviously training camp dates. But we do know OTA workouts will be on May 20th, 21st, the 23rd, the 28th, the 29th, and the 31st. And then rookie minicamp is going to be coming up soon too. So a lot of stuff coming up for the Miami Dolphins. A lot of stuff coming up. Yesterday, I showed you Sharp Analytics and how we had the second highest valued draft, right? I mean, they had, Malik Washington, the expected pick was 101, and we took him at 184. Taj Washington, expected pick was about 179. We took him at 241. Muhammad Kamara, the expected pick was 103. We took him at 158. Jalen Wright was expected to be picked at around 73. We took him at 120. Now, Patrick Paul, we took him at 55. He was expected to go around 42. And then Chop Robinson, we took him at 21. He was expected to go around 29. Patrick Morris, he was expected. He's a reach, right? When you break it down, he was a reach. But from yet again, this ain't gonna, from gridiron grading, their basically whole thing is grading, right? And the draft and stuff. This is where they're at. Look at this. The Dolphins had an A+ grade by their standard. They looked at, and this is by classes, by value over expected and talent added to get the final rankings. So this is graded by talent and the value of the pick. They had us with a draft value of 1343. And the talent added was about 5674. Look at this. Value over expected, they ranked first. The reason why they weren't number one is their class rank was 10th. So another analytical site showing all y'all that the Dolphins knocked it out of the park. We showed Warren Sharp yesterday. We're showing gridiron grading today. I don't know what to tell you. They, by net talent and value over expected, they gave us an A+. Us and the Eagles had both A+. The Steelers had an A. The Seahawks had an A, and the Bengals had an A. The Miami Dolphins did their damn thing. I don't know what to tell you. I am very impressed and very happy with that draft as when you come away with it as a whole and look at it in its entirety. So, the question that's going to be asked to me is, reason, is the roster better than it was before the draft? Yes. Look at our edges right now. Muhammad Kamara, Chop Robinson, and Shaq Barrett. There's no reason to rush Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb back. Now, I think one of them will be back by the start of the season, and I think that'll be Phillips. But look at that rotation. And then you're going to add Chubb late in the season when we make our playoff push. Wow. Tackle class. Listen, we added Patrick Paul. Say what you want. Much higher upside than a Keon Smith and our Kendall Lamb was about to retire. Our tackle group is better. Our wide receiver group. Yeah, we didn't get the big body guy we all wanted that could flex out on the boundary. But Malik Washington and Taj Washington make our not only wide receiver room better, but special teams better. They both have return ability. Taj Washington was used more in his time with Memphis as a returner. And then you go look at Malik, and he had some returns with Northwestern as well as with Virginia. So they made 2 units better. I already went over Kamara made us better on edge. Patrick McMorris. See, that's the one position I was shocked we didn't get better at. To be honest with you, I don't know if Patrick McMorris makes us better. So, and then you look at the UDFA class, they're looking for depth, and there's a couple guys at safety who have a chance to make it. There really are. I think Mark Perry has a legitimate shot. I really do. I think Storm Duck has a chance at least to make the practice squad. And same thing goes with Isaiah Johnson. And Jordan Colbert. When I watched the safeties, I was actually, other than Grayson Murphy, who, I gave that B+ to, the unit that they upgraded in UDFA I was most impressed with, just when you look at my grades, was the secondary. So, but I don't think they're done. They've been stressing to us that they're not done in free agency, and they're going to have over $18 million cleared up very soon. So I don't think this team is done by any stretch of the imagination. And I think they're going to pull some rabbits out of their hats when that money frees up. I really do believe that. Guys, over 550 of you in the room. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. You got boys, B-Rob and all y'all. I'm down. Go get me Justin Simmons. Imagine if they just had that draft and they go out and they add Justin Simmons and OBJ. And I told Neil a couple weeks ago it was a pipe dream to get Justin Simmons. You can get him on a 1-year mercenary. Please. Let's go. I'm here for it. We're going to have money to All right, so flash the cash, Greer. Let's get ready. And I agree with you, Dubs. At least with Malik, Barrios has got to be looking over his shoulder. Malik's a lock. Taj has a very good shot, but Malik's a lock. All right, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. There's over 550 of you in the room. I appreciate all y'all for spending some of your Sunday with me. And I'll be live this week as we continue to come off of this draft class. We'll get into prospect profiles, the latest Dolphins news and rumors coming out. And we will continue to start eyeing free agency because this team is not done building. Everyone who thinks we're done, we ain't done. I'm going to tell you that right now. Love all y'all. Appreciate all y'all. Smash that like button. And as always, go Fins. Well, Fins up. Well, if you don't care about Margaritaville, I'm with you. But I will see all y'all on the next one. Take it easy, guys and gals.